The Neanderthals, once the masters of vast stretches of Europe and parts of Asia, vanished nearly 40,000 years ago, leaving behind only traces of their lives in stone tools, caves, and the faint whispers of their DNA. For decades, scientists have wrestled with the mystery of their disappearance. Why did a species that endured icy winds, fierce predators, and shifting landscapes suddenly fade into oblivion? Now, thanks to breakthroughs in ancient DNA analysis, we are beginning to uncover the truth. These insights reveal a complex web of genetics, environmental pressures, and competition with emerging humans. Each discovery peels back another layer of their story, showing how fragile small populations can be, how chance and circumstance can tip the scales, and how the echoes of their existence still resonate within us today. Neanderthals first appeared around 400,000 years ago, carving out a life in the unforgiving landscapes of Ice Age Europe and Asia. They were more than just survivors. They were skilled hunters who tracked prey across frozen plains, masterful toolmakers who shaped stone with precision, and social beings with intricate community structures. Archaeological evidence shows they cared for the injured, supported the elderly, and nurtured their young, revealing a depth of empathy and cooperation that challenges old stereotypes. Their remarkable ability to adapt to forests, mountains, and icy tundras alike speaks to a resilience and intelligence that allowed them to thrive for hundreds of thousands of years, a testament to the enduring power of ingenuity in the face of relentless adversity. Recent genomic studies have shed new light on the fragile world of Neanderthals, revealing that their populations were often small, scattered, and profoundly isolated. One striking example comes from France, where the discovery of a Neanderthal named Thorin uncovered a lineage that split from others around 103,000 years ago and remained cut off for over 50,000 years. Such prolonged isolation had profound consequences. Repeated inbreeding reduced genetic diversity, leaving these communities vulnerable to disease, environmental shifts, and random misfortunes. These findings paint a vivid picture of lives lived on the edge, where every birth, every injury, and every hunting season could tip the delicate balance of survival, highlighting just how precarious existence had become for our closest extinct cousins. The extinction of Neanderthals unfolded alongside dramatic swings in climate, exposing these ancient humans to relentless environmental pressures. Periods of extreme cold and prolonged drought, such as the Heinrich Event 4, coincided with sharp declines in Neanderthal populations. These abrupt shifts disrupted fragile ecosystems, forcing herds of prey to migrate and shrinking the resources that small, isolated groups depended on. Every harsh winter, every sudden scarcity, pressed harder on communities already stretched thin. Survival became a constant struggle, where even minor setbacks, a failed hunt, a harsh storm, could threaten the delicate balance of life. The story of Neanderthals is a reminder of how intimately human survival is tied to the rhythms of the natural world, and how environmental upheavals can push even the most resilient species to the brink. As anatomically modern humans, Homo sapiens, pushed into Neanderthal territories, the pressure on resources intensified like never before. These newcomers carried not only advanced tools and weaponry, but also sophisticated social networks and cultural innovations that gave them a strategic edge. Hunting grounds, shelter, and essential resources became arenas of subtle competition, often tipping in favor of the newcomers. While some interbreeding did occur, the flow of new genes into Neanderthal populations was minimal, likely constrained by social barriers or reproductive isolation. For Neanderthals, this growing competitive disadvantage added another weight on already fragile populations, compounding environmental stress, inbreeding vulnerabilities, and demographic pressures. Each encounter with Homo sapiens was not just a meeting. It was a test of survival against a rapidly changing world. Disease may have been an invisible, yet deadly, assailant for Neanderthals. As Homo sapiens moved into new territories, they brought with them pathogens to which Neanderthal populations had no prior exposure. Isolated groups, already limited in genetic diversity, would have had little or no immunity, making even minor outbreaks potentially catastrophic. Though direct evidence remains sparse, The timing of Neanderthal decline aligns strikingly with the arrival of modern humans and the spread of new diseases. In these fragile communities, illness could wipe out key individuals, disrupt hunting parties, and weaken social cohesion. Disease, silent and unseen, may have been one more factor nudging these resilient humans toward the edge, underscoring just how precarious life had become for our closest extinct cousins. Neanderthal social structures, while sufficient for survival, were likely far less complex than those of contemporary Homo sapiens. Archaeological evidence paints a picture of small, often isolated communities, where families lived close together for generations. This isolation led to repeated inbreeding, which in turn increased the prevalence of genetic pathologies and reduced resilience to environmental challenges. Cultural separation also limited their ability to adopt new strategies or innovations from neighboring groups. Knowledge, tools, and survival techniques that might have bolstered their chances often remained out of reach. In these tight-knit but isolated communities, each misstep, an injury, a poor hunt, or a harsh winter, carried outsized consequences. Their story is a reminder of how both social cohesion and connectedness can determine the fate of a species. Though Neanderthals vanished tens of thousands of years ago, their presence lingers within us. Genetic studies reveal that people of non-African descent carry roughly 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA. This legacy is more than a curiosity. It subtly shapes our biology, influencing immune responses, skin traits, and even how our bodies react to sunlight and disease. Each fragment of Neanderthal DNA is a whisper from the past, a reminder that these ancient humans were not just distant relatives, but active contributors to our genetic story. Through this enduring imprint, Neanderthals continue to participate in the human saga, bridging the gap between the vanished world of Ice Age hunters and the modern lives we lead today. The fossil record offers haunting glimpses into the final days of Neanderthals. In remote regions like Gibraltar and the Caucasus, traces of habitation reveal that small, resilient groups clung to life in isolated refuges for extended periods. Stone tools, hearths, and cave layers tell stories of survival against mounting odds, of families huddled together through harsh winters and scarce resources. Yet these glimpses are rare, and the scarcity of such sites underscores a sobering truth. Population growth was minimal, and each generation teetered on the edge. Even in these last strongholds, the balance between life and extinction was fragile. The fossil evidence paints a picture of a species enduring as long as possible, yet ultimately succumbing to the relentless pressures of environment, genetics, and competition. Researchers have long sought to understand why Neanderthals, once so successful, ultimately vanished. Using advanced theoretical models, scientists simulate the interplay of population size, genetic diversity, climate shifts, and competition with modern humans. These simulations reveal a stark reality. Small, isolated populations are vulnerable to cascading effects. When environmental stresses converge with limited genetic diversity, harmful mutations can accumulate, triggering a genetic meltdown that further undermines survival. Every cold snap, scarce hunt, or minor illness becomes magnified in consequence. These models bring the past to life, showing how even a resilient species can falter when the pressures of chance, environment, and biology combine, offering a sobering glimpse into the fragile mathematics of extinction. The extinction of Neanderthals is more than a story from the distant past. It carries vital lessons for the world we live in today. Their decline highlights the crucial role of genetic diversity, showing how small, isolated populations are particularly vulnerable to disease, environmental shifts, and unforeseen catastrophes. It also underscores the dangers of social and geographical isolation, reminding us that connectivity and collaboration can mean the difference between survival and disappearance. For modern conservation efforts, these lessons are invaluable. Protecting endangered species requires interconnected habitats, careful monitoring of genetic health, and strategies that buffer populations against environmental unpredictability. By reflecting on the fate of Neanderthals, we gain insight into the delicate balance of life and the urgent responsibility we carry to prevent similar disappearances in our own time. The extinction of the Neanderthals stands as a profound and poignant reminder of how fragile life can be. Their disappearance was not the result of a single catastrophe, but the culmination of complex forces, genetic limitations, environmental upheavals, and social challenges, all interacting over tens of thousands of years. Each small group faced a precarious existence, where chance, climate, and competition could tip the balance toward survival or oblivion. Yet, even in their absence, Neanderthals continue to leave an indelible mark. Their DNA persists within us, a subtle testament to the interwoven story of human evolution. Their tools, hearths, and traces of community life speak across millennia, reminding us that resilience and adaptability are central to life itself. By studying their rise, struggles, and ultimate decline, we gain not only insight into our own origins, but also a humbling perspective on the delicate threads that sustain any species. Their story invites us to reflect on the value of genetic diversity, the impact of environmental change, and the enduring importance of social cohesion. For those eager to journey deeper into the mysteries of prehistoric life, the hidden narratives of our ancient cousins, and the echoes of human ancestry, subscribe to Prehistoric Shadows. Explore the shadows of the past, uncover stories lost to time, and witness the remarkable saga that has shaped humanity's path across the ages.